Hey guys, so today we are here with Fujifilm shooting with the X-T20 and the X-E3. We are shooting a Spanish dancer today in the streets of Maboneng, and we are shooting with the Fuji's f2 lineup of lenses, the 23mm, the 35mm and the 50mm f2. So jumping over into the specs, the X-T20 has been around for a couple of months, whereas the X-E3 is a recently released camera. In terms of physical features, you'll find that the image processors are exactly the same, the sensors are exactly the same. Some of the differences you're going to see are more come down to the physical features, which Herman will now explain.
Okay, so on the X-T20, you have the viewfinder shooting. So this is like the DSLR, where on the X-E3, you now have the rangefinder. So if you want to connect to your client or your subject or what it is that you're shooting, it's much better working like this, where you can just open your eyes and you can speak to your client instead of having this massive camera in front of your face. So amazing for working with your client.
Okay, so looking at the screens between the two, on the X-T20 you get an articulating screen, which is quite nice actually. So if you're shooting at angles, you get it where you can either shoot from below, you get a nice low angle, or if you're shooting above again, you can articulate it and see from below. So that's really cool to have. Whereas on the X-E3, you don't have a tilt screen, and also a lot of people complain you don't get a D-pad on the X-E3. But what Fujifilm have done is, instead of a physical D-pad, because they wanted to make the camera more compact, they've made it so you can swipe on the screen, and that replaces your D-pad. So if you swipe up, you get the up button, so on and so forth.
One of the greatest features about the Fujifilm cameras when they just started out was the Wi-Fi capability. So you could basically connect the phone to your camera, and then you could transfer photos to your phone and you could control the camera. Now with the X-E3, the new X-E3, you now have a Bluetooth function as well, which means you can just put on your Bluetooth on your phone and on the camera, and while you're shooting, it's basically communicating to your phone. So if it's in your pocket, if you switch it off, this camera is starting to transfer those photos to your phone. So you don't have to go into the app and into your camera and work them together and then send them to your phone. It's automatically happening while the camera is off.
So one of the great features about Fuji is that across the entire range, they don't aim for things like entry-level cameras, mid-range cameras, or high-end cameras. What they've done across the entire range of the X-E3, the X-T20 and the X-T2 is they've put the same image sensor across all three cameras, which means even though you're spending less for the X-T20 or the X-T3, you're still getting exactly the same image quality. So these cameras are fantastic for either A, if you're looking for a smaller, more compact system, which the X-T2 is already a very compact system, but this is even more compact, or if you're just on a budget and can't quite afford the X-T2, you're still getting exactly the same image quality.
Okay, Ryan, I think let's just go into the cameras, into our shooting experience. So my first views on the X-E3, which is what I shot, and I come from shooting X-T1. I was quite skeptical about the small camera, and I mean there's no D-pad, which I'm super used to. Shooting such a small camera system is mind-blowing for the image quality that you already have. So my experience with this was incredible, first of all, because it's so light, and I got pretty used to it very quickly. And being able, to go on computer and seeing these shots and the quality that they have in such a small camera system was such a pleasant experience.
That's awesome. But how did you find shooting with the rangefinder? Like, what is that?
Not used to it. Very used to shooting the viewfinder style, and I have to say it was, I had to get used to it. But getting used to this thing in general was so nice, because this camera can be on my face pretty much 24/7, and I can just work with my client. And that's amazing. Where with this, I'll drop it and I'll speak and I'll come back again. So it was an incredible experience with this as well.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I must say I noticed while we were shooting on the streets, and especially when we were under the bridge, shooting with all cars coming past, I could see you were always watching, always aware of what was happening, which is cool to see on that, which I couldn't quite do on the X-T20. It was, while it's there, your face is kind of blocked. So I definitely see what you're saying. And I saw you enjoyed that camera.
And definitely, I mean, the touchscreen, I'm not used to the touchscreen at all. And then you mentioned to me about the D-pad as well. And I could just sweep left or sweep right to go into the white balance or the ISO setting, all of that stuff. And it was so pleasant, because I'm used to now using stuff there, and I can do it with both hands, and I can do whatever I need to. So this compact system is actually ergonomic, and it works.
So I must say, so I come from shooting the X-T2 background, so we're pretty similar parts, and shooting with I shot the X-T20 most of the time, as you know. And it was interesting, you know. I thought going down to the X-T20, because initially when I was making the purchase decision, you know, I thought, X-T20, you know, you're losing some external features and stuff on the body. But having actually shot with it now, I must say, I really didn't miss much that I had on my X-T2 to this. You know, if anything, it was actually easier to shoot because there's like less dials to focus here. You know, so it was kind of, you just put it in the settings you want and you just shoot, you just go. So I must say it was, and you know, being very similar style to the X-T2 with the SLR style viewfinder, it's, you know, it was again exactly the same to how I shoot, put it up, so like nothing was different. And you know, you're getting this for a lot less price than the X-T2. It's a no-brainer, really.
And with the size difference, I know with the X-T2 it's quite bigger than this, and you come from shooting the X-T2. Was it different for you shooting with a little bit of a smaller camera, or was it pretty much similar?
Yeah, look, I mean, I've got the battery grip on the X-T2 as well, you know, so it's considerably heavier as well and quite a bit bigger. So it was actually nice, especially because, you know, in Joburg, walking around the streets, you know, you gotta just be wary of safety and stuff. So having the smaller body as well, you know, you can basically just conceal it in your hand like that. You know, it's actually very nice, just handheld while you walk in the streets, very light, you know, no like pressure on the wrists while you're walking. So it was actually very nice to shoot.
I have to admit, it's the same with this camera, because I know even with my X-T1s, if I walk in the city or something and I have the camera, it automatically feels to me like everyone is looking at me. If I walk with this thing, it feels like I have a little point and shoot, which makes it much more comfortable for me and probably for my client as well. I've never been the client, so I don't know.
No, I mean, nobody takes notice because it's, as you say, you know, it's a point and shoot, so everyone's just like, okay, you know, they're not a professional, as you put it. So you can often get away with a lot more than shooting. So, no, it's cool.
Great.
Okay, so I think let's chat a bit about the lenses that we got here. You know, we got the F2 lineup of lenses. So tell me a little about your experience of shooting with it.
Okay, so I have experience in, I mean, this is the 50, the 35, and the 23. And I have experience in shooting the 56, which is a little bit bigger than, well, it's quite a lot bigger than this. It's not massive, but it's not this small. And it felt to me like I was shooting with a 35, to be honest. But the focal length on the 56 versus the 50, it is a difference. It's like a 85 and a 75. But there was no difference when I was shooting. It felt pretty much the same, but the speed was incredible. I mean, I'm used to the 56, which is not as new as this lens, obviously. But the speed improvement in it was incredible. It was spot on. The moment there was no hunting for anything. So
it's like
it's improved a lot. And the size difference on it is also very comfortable. Just because I think I have small hands, it was much better for me to shoot with this lens. And honestly, I had a great experience shooting with it. I mean, shooting in low light is a problem for cameras in general. And having something this quick, you know, incredible. It was quite an experience for me.
No, it's tough to beat. I must say. So I own a 35 F2 as well. So I shot with this primarily throughout the day, and it's, you know, I just love this lens. You know, I've got quite a few friends who shoot with a 35 1.4. And I've done a few shots comparing the two that they shoot with, and it's very difficult to see differences between the two. You know, unless you know specifically that was shot on a 1.4. It's tough to tell the difference. And you know, with all of them, you get the weather sealing. So it's, you know, to me again, it's a no-brainer. You know, if you're looking for best build quality, compact size, you know, it's tough to beat.
Having something that's this compact with the quality that you're getting, and it's the F2, I mean, wide open, it's super sharp, and it's not a fat lens, it makes it so much better. And I mean, the camera difference, the size is already, it's super small, so putting something big on this would just take away that, and having to pair it up with the F2 lenses is incredible. And I mean, me shooting, I've never shot 35 or 23. I've never done it, and I basically shot primarily just on that, and that was quite the experience for me as well, because it's, you know, it's so small, and the depth of field that you're getting with this lens is incredible. I wasn't expecting that much, I have to be honest, because it's crop sensor. I wasn't expecting that much, but I had such a blast with it. I mean, these lenses paired up with these cameras are top of the line.
So are you going to buy the 23?
Let's just not say that now.
Okay, so I think that about wraps it up. Herman, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you had an enjoyable experience shooting with different combinations and setups.
Definitely.
So thanks so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.